Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to talk about closing service tickets in ConnectWise. You may be responsible for auditing and closing service tickets and making sure that everything gets billed out correctly. And what we're going to do today is go through some common issues I see when this happens. We'll start at the top, which is just in a service ticket. So I'm in a service ticket right now, and I'm going to start at the header to make sure that everything has been filled out correctly. Right now, there is a summary. There is a company associated with this ticket. The status has probably moved through a number of statuses, so it's hopefully in progress or in a pre-close completed status. I'm going to make sure that there is a type, subtype, and item, which I don't have filled out here, but if your organization requires it, I would recommend having all three of those filled out. Next, I'll scroll over and look at the agreement and make sure that an agreement has been applied to this ticket if relevant. So if this service ticket belongs to an agreement, we want to make sure that that's filled out. Otherwise, I'm pretty happy with everything that's happening on the surface level. So I'm just going to go to the Finance tab next to see what's going to be billed off of this ticket. The Finance tab is very helpful to check before you close a ticket because it's going to show you what's going to happen. We'll navigate over to the Finance tab, and what I can see here are two pods. One is the financial recap, and one is the agreement recap. The financial recap is what is going to be invoiced to the customer. So this shows that I am going to be charging the customer $340 for 4 hours of work. Then I can see below that it's going to have 2 hours of work covered. So $170, 2 hours of work are covered by the agreement. This means that the agreement work type, the service ticket work type and work rule are covered by the agreement. As I scroll down, I can see there's a couple other options. If I select bill this ticket separately, it will create an invoice for every single service ticket. If I deselect bill this ticket separately, it's going to group all the service tickets for the same company together in one invoice. So you can decide how you want that to go, but if you want to bill service tickets individually, you keep this checked. If you want to bill all the service tickets for one company together, you deselect this. Bill this ticket only after it's been closed. This is selected and will only show up in the invoicing screen if the ticket has been closed. So once we move this to a closed status, it will show in the invoicing screen. Bill unapproved time and expenses. This matters because if your company does not approve time quickly, if there's anything unapproved in the time and expense sheets, then this ticket will show up under the invoicing screen as $0. And I'll show you what I mean by that. After you close the ticket, it's going to go under the invoicing screen, and it will show up here under invoicing. I'm going to go back into my ticket and deselect bill this ticket only after it's been closed, just so we can see it now. I'll search and nothing shows up. There's nothing happening for my ticket in this screen. It's because the time and expense entries have not been approved yet. So if I select this, bill unapproved time and expense entries, and hit save, now it's going to show up in my screen. So it's right here. This blue web is now visible. We're looking for this one for $170. That's really important, especially as I mentioned, if people are not approving time and expenses quickly. Next up, let's go up here and look at the financial recap versus the agreement recap. For this I'm going to look at the time entries. There's no products on this service ticket, so I'm just going to check the time entries for the 6 hours that have been entered. When I go to the time entry section, I can see that there are 3 2-hour time entries. They all have the exact same work type and work role. So why is it that some of this is being charged to the customer and some of it is being covered by the agreement? If we scroll over, we can see here that only two of the time entries do not have an agreement associated. This last one does have an agreement associated with it. What has likely happened is that these 2 time entries were put on the ticket prior to the agreement being applied to the ticket, which means that the agreement is not covering this time. To rectify this, you need to go into the time entry and ensure that the agreement is applied to the individual time entry. What I'm doing now is fixing a mistake because it's likely that the agreement wasn't applied in time, time was entered, and the agreement wasn't there. Now the agreement is populated on all 3 time entries. I'm going to go back to my Finance tab, and now I can see that all the time is covered by the agreement. So all 6 hours, $510 worth of labor are being covered by the agreement. The customer will not be billed for this ticket because of the labor work role and work type that are being covered entirely by the agreement. That's an issue I see all the time. I'm going to say that this ticket should only be billed after it's been closed. We're going to bill unapproved time and expenses, and I'm going to change the overall ticket status to closed. That should be the last step that you do, because if you change the service ticket to closed before you check it, you won't be able to update anything. So make sure that you update everything and check that Finance tab prior to marking a ticket as closed. Once you mark it as closed, it will show up in the invoicing screen, and provided that there's a dollar value associated. Because this is a $0 value, it's not going to show up here. Those are some best practices and tips and tricks I see when being the one who's responsible for closing a service ticket. If you have other questions about closing service tickets or you've run into any issues, just let me know in the comments.